Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Privacy is Power: Why and How You Should Take Back Control of Your Data by Carissa Véliz. Narrated by Rachel Perry. Introduction. They are watching us. They know I'm writing these words. They know you are hearing them. Governments and hundreds of corporations are spying on you and me and everyone we know. Every minute of every day. They track and record all they can. Our location, our communications, our internet searches, our biometric information, our social relations, our purchases, and much more. They want to know who we are, what we think, where we hurt. They want to predict and influence our behavior. They have too much power. Their power stems from us, from you, from your data. It's time to take back control. Reclaiming privacy is the only way we can regain control of our lives and our societies. The Internet is primarily funded by the collection, analysis, and trade of data, the data economy. Much of that data is personal data about you. The trading of personal data as a business model is increasingly being exported to all institutions in society, the surveillance society, or surveillance capitalism. To reach you, I had to go through surveillance capitalism. I'm sorry. How did you become aware of this book? Can you remember how you first heard about it, or where you saw an ad for it? You might have been tagged by some platform or another as a pioneer, someone who is on the lookout for knowledge and new experiences. You like books that make you think. Or you might be an advocate, someone worried about social issues and politically engaged. Fit the bill? The main objective of this book is to empower you, but most similar uses of your data will disempower you. If surveillance didn't catch you before buying this book, it probably did afterwards. If you are reading these words on a Kindle or Google Books or a Nook, they are measuring how long it takes you to read each word, where you stop to take a break, and what you highlight. If you bought this book in a bookshop, the smartphone in your pocket was recording your journey there, and how long you stayed. The music in the bookshop might have been sending ultrasound beacons to your phone to identify it as your phone and track your interests and purchases. If you used a debit or credit card to buy the book, they probably sold that information to data brokers who then sold it to insurance companies, possible employers, governments, businesses, and whoever else might have been interested in it. Or you may have even linked your payment card to a loyalty system, which tracks your purchasing history and uses that information to try to sell you more things the algorithm reckons you might buy. The data economy and the ubiquitous surveillance on which it feeds took us by surprise. Tech companies did not inform users of how our data was being used, much less ask for our permission. They didn't ask our governments either. There were no laws to regulate the data trail left behind by unsuspecting citizens as we went about our business in an increasingly digital world. By the time we realized it was happening, the surveillance architecture was already in place. Much of our privacy was gone. In the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, privacy is facing new threats, as previously offline activities have moved online, and we have been asked to give up our personal data in the name of the public good. It is a time to think very carefully about what sort of world we want to inhabit when the pandemic becomes a distant memory. A world without privacy is a dangerous one. Privacy is about being able to keep certain intimate things to yourself. Your thoughts, your experiences, your conversations, your plans. Human beings need privacy to be able to unwind from the burden of being with other people. We need privacy to explore new ideas freely, to make up our own minds. Privacy protects us from unwanted pressures and abuses of power. We need it to be autonomous individuals. And for democracies to function well, we need citizens to be autonomous. Our lives, translated into data, are the raw material of the surveillance economy. Our hopes, our fears, what we read, what we write, our relationships, our diseases, our mistakes, our purchases, our weaknesses, our faces, our voices. Everything is used as fodder for data vultures who collect it all, analyze it all, and sell it to the highest bidder. Too many of those acquiring our data want it for nefarious purposes, to betray our secrets to insurance companies, employers, and governments, to sell us things it's not in our interest to buy, to pit us against each other in an effort to destroy our society from the inside, to disinform us and hijack our democracies. The surveillance economy has transformed citizens into users and data subjects. Enough is enough. Those who have violated our right to privacy have abused our trust, and it's time to pull the plug on their source of power, our data. It's too late to prevent the data economy from developing in the first place, but it's not too late to reclaim our privacy. Our civil liberties are at stake. The decisions we make about privacy today and in the coming years will shape the future of humanity for decades to come. Societal choices about privacy will influence how political campaigns are run, how corporations earn their keep, the power that governments and private businesses may wield, the advancement of medicine, the pursuit of public health goals, the risks we are exposed to, how we interact with each other, and, not least, whether our rights are respected as we go about our daily lives. This book is about the state of privacy today, how the surveillance economy came about, why we should end the trade in personal data, and how to do it. Chapter 1 accompanies a person throughout a day in the surveillance society to illustrate how much privacy is being taken away from us. Chapter 2 explains how the data economy developed, in the hope that understanding how we got into this mess will be helpful in getting us out of it. In Chapter 3, I argue that privacy is a form of power, and that whoever has the most personal data will dominate society. If we give our data to companies, the wealthy will rule. If we give our data to governments, we will end up with some form of authoritarianism. Only if the people keep their data will society be free. Privacy matters because it gives power to the people. The surveillance economy is not only bad because it creates and enhances undesirable power asymmetries. It is also dangerous because it trades in a toxic substance. Chapter 4 examines why personal data is toxic and how it is poisoning our lives, our institutions, and our societies. We need to put a stop to the data economy like we put a stop to other kinds of economic exploitation in the past. Economic systems that depend on the violation of rights are unacceptable. Chapter 5 is about how societies can pull the plug on the surveillance economy. Chapter 6 is about what you can do as an individual to take back control of your personal data and our democracies. We are not witnessing the death of privacy. Even though privacy is in distress, we are in a better place now to defend it than we have been for the past decade. This is only the beginning of the fight to safeguard personal data in the digital age. Too much is at stake to let privacy wither. Our very way of life is at risk. Surveillance threatens freedom, equality, democracy, autonomy, creativity, and intimacy. We have been lied to time and again, and our data is being stolen to be used against us. No more. Having too little privacy is at odds with having well-functioning societies. Surveillance capitalism needs to go. It will take some time and effort, but we can and will reclaim privacy. Here's how. 1. Data vultures. You probably already know your personal data is being collected, stored, and analyzed. But are you aware of the full extent of privacy invasions into your life? Let's start at dawn. What is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? You probably check your phone. Voila! That is the first data point you lose in the day. By picking up your phone first thing in the morning, you are informing a whole host of busybodies. Your smartphone manufacturer, all those apps you have installed on your phone, and your mobile company, as well as intelligence agencies if you happen to be an interesting person, what time you wake up, where you've been sleeping, and with whom, assuming the person you share your bed with keeps his phone near him too. If you happen to wear a smartwatch on your wrist, then you will have lost some privacy even before you wake up, as it records your every movement in bed, including, of course, any sexual activity. Suppose that your employer gave you that watch as part of a wellness program to encourage healthy habits that can lead to cheaper insurance premiums. Can you be sure that your data will not be used against you? Are you confident your employer will not see it? When your employer gives you a device, they remain its legal owner, be it a fitness tracker, a laptop, or a phone, and they can access the data from that device at any time without your permission. After checking your heart rate during the night, way too fast, you need to exercise more, and sending that data to your smartphone, you get out of bed and brush your teeth with an electric toothbrush. An app lets you know that you have not been brushing as often as you should. You have overslept this morning, and your spouse has already left for work. You go to the kitchen and look for sugar for your coffee only to realize you've run out. You decide to ask your neighbor if she has some to spare. Standing outside her door, you notice something unusual about it. There's a camera. When she opens the door, she explains. It's a new smart doorbell. If it's a doorbell from Ring, a company owned by Amazon, Ring employees will probably review that video footage of you in order to tag objects manually in an effort to train software to perform recognition tasks. Those videos are stored unencrypted, making them extremely vulnerable to hacking. Amazon has filed a patent to use its facial recognition software on doorbells. Nest, owned by Google, already uses facial recognition in its cameras. In some cities like Washington, D.C., the police want to register and even subsidize private security cameras. It's anybody's guess where footage from smart doorbells is going to end up and what it will be used for. Your neighbor doesn't have sugar, or maybe she doesn't want to give you any after you sneered at her new doorbell. You are forced to settle for unsweetened coffee. You turn on the TV. A smart TV, of course, to distract yourself from its bitter taste. Your favorite TV show is on, that guilty pleasure you would never admit to watching. You get a call. It's your spouse. You mute the TV. Why are you still at home? How did you know? My phone is connected to our smart meter. I could see you were using electricity. I overslept? You say. He doesn't sound very convinced by your explanation, but he has an appointment and needs to end the call. You wonder whether this is the first time you have been spied on through your smart meter. Smart meters are not only a privacy risk with respect to the people you share your home with. They are notoriously insecure devices. A criminal can hack yours and see when you're away from home, with a view to robbing your property. Furthermore, data from smart meters is held and analyzed by energy service providers. Some of this data can be quite sensitive. For example, your energy footprint is so precise that it can reveal which television channel you are watching. The data can then be sold or shared with interested third parties. Your teenage son suddenly walks in and interrupts your thoughts. He wants to talk to you about something. Something sensitive. Perhaps it's about a problem related to drugs, or sex, or bullying at school. You don't turn off the TV, it remains muted, playing images in the background. Your smart TV is probably collecting information through a technology called Automatic Content Recognition, ACR. It tries to identify everything you watch on TV and sends the data to the TV maker, third parties, or both. Researchers found that one Samsung smart TV had connected to more than 700 distinct internet addresses after being used for 15 minutes. That's the least of it. If you had time to read the privacy policies of the objects you buy, you would have noticed that your Samsung TV included the following warning. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party. Even when you think you've turned your TV off, it might still be on. Intelligence agencies like the CIA and MI5 can make your TV look as though it is off while they record you. After your son has shared his most intimate thoughts with you, your TV manufacturer, and hundreds of unknown third parties, he leaves for school, where he will be forced to lose yet more of his privacy through the school's surveillance of his internet use. You unmute the TV. Commercials are on. You think that you're finally going to get a moment of privacy. You're wrong. Unbeknown to you, inaudible sound beacons are being broadcast through those TV and radio commercials, as well as through music in shops, and are being picked up by your phone. These audio beacons function like sound cookies that allow businesses to triangulate your devices and purchasing habits through location. That is, they help businesses track you across different devices. Thanks to this ultrasonic cross-device tracking, a company can find out whether the person who sees a particular ad for a product in the morning on TV and looks it up on her laptop an hour later, then goes on to buy it at the shop in her neighborhood or orders it online. You receive another call. This time it's a colleague from work. Hey, I'm not sure how this happened, but I just received a recording of a very private conversation you were having with your son. It seems that your digital assistant, Alexa, sent it. You thank him for letting you know and hang up, wondering whether Alexa might have sent that conversation to other people in your contact list. Furious, you get in touch with Amazon. They explain. Echo probably woke up to a word in your conversation that sounded like Alexa. Then it thought you were saying, send message. It must have asked to whom, and whatever you were saying then was interpreted as a name. Sometimes smart speakers are activated by hearing a television show in which a word is spoken that is similar to their wake word. If you were to have your television on all day, that would happen between 1.5 and 19 times per day, not counting the times when the actual wake word is said on television. When Alexa sent the private conversation of a user in Portland, Oregon, to a random contact, the user vowed never to plug in the device again. You go a step further and smash the Echo against the wall. Your spouse will not be happy about that. You are very late for work now. You get in your car and drive to your office. You bought your car secondhand from an acquaintance. It probably never crossed your mind, but it turns out that person has access to your data because she never disconnected her phone from the car app. Furthermore, your car maker is gathering all kinds of data about you: the locations you visit, the speed you drive at, your musical taste, your eye movements, whether your hands are on the wheel, and even your weight as measured by your seat, which can end up in the hands of your insurance company, among other third parties. You get to work. There have been protests near your workplace lately. Unbeknown to you as you pass these areas, data from your phone may be vacuumed up by police IMSI catchers, also called stingrays. fake cell phone towers that trick mobile phones into connecting to them. Once connected, IMSI catchers collect identification and location data. They also allow eavesdropping on phone conversations, text messages, and web browsing. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, at least 75 agencies in 27 states have the technology in the United States, though there might be many more that we don't know about. According to an article in The Intercept, law enforcement agents have sometimes deceived judges and misled defense attorneys about their use of stingrays, saying that they obtained information about the defendant from a confidential source, for example, when in fact they had used a stingray. Activists believe that stingrays might have been used against Black Lives Matter protesters in 2020. There is evidence that this equipment is being used by the police in London to spy on people, for example, at peaceful protests and near the UK Parliament. Popular advice given online to protect your privacy includes leaving your phone at home when going to a protest, although having a phone is important during a protest to keep up to date with relevant news and in touch with people you know. Though stingrays are mostly used by governments, they can be used by anyone, since they are sold by private companies and can also be home-built. While the data on your phone is being hoovered, you step into your office. A colleague greets you and looks at his watch, making it clear that your tardiness is being noted. You sit in front of your computer and try to inhale deeply, but you lose your breath at the sight of hundreds of unread emails. You open the first one. It's from your boss. "Hey, I noticed you weren't in the office this morning. Will you have that report I asked for ready on time?" Yes, you will, but you wish your boss weren't breathing down your neck. The next email asks you to fill in anonymous evaluations of your coworkers. Your boss is a firm believer in work surveillance. You know that he tracks your every movement, keeping tabs on whether you attend meetings, seminars, and even informal dinners and drinks after work. You know he monitors your social media because he has warned you in the past about posting political content. You feel queasy at the thought of evaluating your coworkers and being evaluated by them. Then there's an email from your favorite shoe brand. You might think it harmless to your privacy to receive emails, but about 70% of commercial emails and 40% of all emails contain trackers. Opening an email allows third parties to track you across the web and identify you as one and the same user across devices. Trackers can be embedded in a color, a font, a pixel, or a link. Even ordinary people are using trackers to know whether their emails are being read, when, and where. Given that trackers can reveal a person's location, stalkers can use them to find you. The next email is from your brother. He has used your work address, even though you have asked him not to. Employers, including universities, have access to your emails. One reason, among others, never to use your work email for personal purposes. In his email, your brother informs you that he received a direct-to-consumer genetic testing kit as a birthday present and went ahead and tested himself. "You might be happy to learn," he writes, "that our family is 25% Italian. The bad news is that he has a 30% chance of getting heart disease. Given that he is your brother, that probably applies to you too." You reply, "I wish you had asked for my consent. Those are my genes too, and those of my child. Didn't you know our grandmother was Italian? If you want to know more about our family, ask me." Worried about your genetic data, you look at the privacy policy of the company your brother used. It doesn't look good. Testing companies can claim ownership of the DNA sample you send them and use it in whichever way they want. Privacy policies of DNA testing companies usually refer to the de-identification or pseudonymization of information to reassure people. Genetic data is not easy to de-identify effectively, however. It is in the nature of genetic data that it can uniquely identify individuals and their family connections. Replacing names with randomly generated ID numbers does not provide much security against re-identification. In 2000, computer scientists Bradley Malin and Latanya Sweeney used publicly available healthcare data and knowledge about particular diseases to re-identify 98 to 100% of individuals on an anonymized DNA database. You wonder what will become of your brother's genetic data, and whether it will ever count against you or your son if you apply for insurance or a job, for example. The worst part of it is that home genetic tests are incredibly imprecise. About 40% of results are false positive. Your brother may have given away all of the family's genetic privacy in exchange for mumbo-jumbo that will nonetheless be treated as facts by insurance companies and others. It's time for a work video conference with a client who has requested you connect through Zoom. Many people hadn't heard about Zoom before the coronavirus pandemic, when it became the most popular video conferencing app. During lockdown, you were horrified to learn about the reams of data Zoom collected on you, including your name, physical location, email address, job title, employer, IP address, and much more. You have a vague idea that Zoom has improved its privacy and security policies now, but can you trust a company that claimed to implement end-to-end encryption when it didn't? When the call is over, in an effort to relax, you log on to Facebook. Just for a little while, you tell yourself. Perhaps the photos of your friends' good times will cheer you up. They won't. Given that you suspect your boss monitors what you do on your computer, you use your personal phone. Facebook has violated our right to privacy so many times that a comprehensive account would merit a book in itself. Here, I mention only a few ways in which it invades our privacy. Everything you do while on Facebook gets tracked, from your mouse movements to the things you write and decide to delete before posting, your self-censorship. You start browsing the section entitled People You May Know. This feature has been crucial in expanding Facebook's social network. It went from 100 million members when the tool came out in 2008 to over 2 billion in 2018. Among the people you can see there, you may recognize distant relatives or people you went to school with. That doesn't sound too bad. I suggest you don't go much deeper into that rabbit hole, though. If you do, you may likely find that Facebook is trying to connect you with people you do not want to connect with. Some connections between people are problematic, like when the real identities of sex workers are outed to their clients, or when a psychiatrist's patients get linked together, throwing medical confidentiality out of the window. The psychiatrist in question was not friends with her patients on Facebook, but her patients probably had her in their contact books. Among many other ill-fated connections, Facebook has also suggested as friends a harasser to his previously anonymous victim, a husband to his wife's lover, and a victim to the man who robbed her car. Facebook's current mission statement is to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. What about giving people the power to disconnect from toxic or undesirable relationships? Bringing the world closer together sounds cozy until you ask yourself whether you want closeness forced upon you with people you fear, dislike, or want to keep at a distance for professional or personal reasons. Facebook has proved its lack of respect for privacy in many other ways. About 87 million Facebook users had their data analyzed for political purposes by the data firm Cambridge Analytica. In 2018, 14 million accounts had personal data stolen in a hack. For years, Facebook allowed Microsoft's Bing search engine to see Facebook users' friends without their consent, and it gave Netflix and Spotify the ability to read and even delete Facebook users' private messages. In 2015, it started logging all text messages and calls.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?